Boys and Ghouls film review. I am your host, Sarah Stephenson, and this is my co-host, Mike Stephenson. And submitted to the approval of the Boys and Ghouls Society, I call this review, Are You Afraid of the Dark? Just kidding, guys.
It's almost like Halloween, isn't it?
Well, actually, I'm just trying to give it the Are You Afraid of the Dark
Actually,
look.
didn't the first one get off as a pilot at Halloween? I think.
Yes.
I think it was on a show. I can't remember what it's called at the moment. But anyway, irrespective.
Well, I want to give this a bit of a Are You Afraid of the Dark theme in this podcast today. So let's just dive into it, shall we?
Splash. Splash.
So
Splash.
we're going to talk about the old 90s version of Are You Afraid of the Dark?
And then we'll roll on to
And
the
we'll
reboot.
roll on to the reboot.
Yes, exactly right.
Yes. Also, some of you guys are not too satisfied with the reboot for gosh knows reasons. I'm not saying it's your...
It's different.
It's not. I'm not saying picking... I'm not going to be on your side about whether or not it's good or not.
No, don't. I wouldn't even go. We're doing our review, okay?
Yes.
And we're going to say why we like it or not like it as we have our podcast.
Yes.
Yes. And we'll develop it along those lines.
Yeah, so
Now,
who created it, Mike?
I'm glad you asked. Now, the original series was created by a D.J. McHale and an Ed Kendall. I believe McHale might have directed some or all of them. I'm not sure. Can't remember.
Well, he probably brought along other directors for the...
Oh, he did, but there was lots of them. So,
Yeah.
but I think he did some of the directing. I think.
Yeah. Because it only takes one or two directors, or more than one, or three directors who can make up one story a week.
Well, that's not sad. I mean, it's actually putting it together. I mean, you get the story, then you got maybe two filmings being done at the same time, and that sort of stuff. So the more directs you got, the faster you actually churn through them.
Yes.
You had 2 or 3 or 4 directors doing different projects and getting things organised and running around little ever decreasing circles. Now, what I was saying before, these stories were based on just a bit of urban legend,
A few.
Local stories, and some were actually public domain sort of
Yeah,
stories.
and others
Yeah.
probably taken or bought or inspired from a lot of other horrific related movies.
Yeah, and stories. There's one called
stories.
The Twisted Claw or something, which is a bit like The Monkey's Paw. And
Yeah.
something like The Reanimated or something like that was done in there as well. But they took the ideas and wrote their own ideas from that story. So,
Yeah.
so they're not copies and not the same story, but they've used those for a bit of grey matter food so they can actually create something.
Quite. And makes for an interesting story.
Yeah.
And of course, in each of the episodes, it always starts off like with a bunch of kids who are camping. Well, not camping. They're telling stories around a campfire in the woods.
They're meeting, say, once a week or whatever, once a fortnight, or whenever, and they're sitting around a campfire. But they go at night, about midnight supposedly, and they have a little fire going there, and they sit around and tell a scary tale, and they go home.
Yes.
Now, the thing is, just before we go into it, I've seen some of these. I haven't seen those 90-something episodes. I've seen some of them. I like them. I think they're more geared for teenage audience, would you say?
A little bit.
Yeah.
I like to think bit of a between teenagers and, before you go into teenagerhood, like 13 or 12.
The older single digits and the early teenage, because it's not an in-your-face sort of horror movie which is going to scare the crap out of some little poor little kid. So it's toned down a bit like Around the Twist and other things were made for a younger audience.
Yes, exactly
Yeah.
so. And one of the reasons why I grew up with this TV series, so you guys know, and I've watched it during the school holidays or whenever we had either a friend who had a Foxtel, we would watch it there, and I had a friend who had Foxtel, so I often watched a bit of Are You Afraid of the Dark at their place.
You watched a lot of stuff. You watched the Babysitter Club, you watched this, you watched Round a Twist. and all the other good groovy things going up. And Power Rangers.
Yeah, here's a list of my favourite of Are You Afraid of the Dark episodes. The Tale of the Lonely Ghost. I did an interview with one of the actresses for that, just only recently. She's been really cooperative. What's her name again? Laura.
Something or other. Hang on, I'll find it. I might have it written down here. Laura something or other. Give me a minute. Laura something or other.
I'm sorry about this, guys. I'm bad with names.
Well, you're telling me about it.
I don't think you can read it from the main actor's page.
She was the main actor.
No, she was the character in the story.
I'm sorry.
Anyway, so moving on. Forgive me if I don't remember the last name.
That's okay. She knows who she is.
The Tale of Laughing in the Dark. That one's about a bit of a creepy clown and stuff in a theme park.
That one, yeah, that wasn't too bad.
The Tale of the Prom Queen.
Prom Queen, is it?
Prom Queen.
Prom, yeah.
Prom Queen.
Prom.
The Tale of Jake and the Leprechaun. The Tale of the Dark Music, which has a boy who's afraid of the dark, and he goes into the basement and he meets a creature.
Don't tell him too much, because we just want to spy them.
The Tale of the Pinball Wizard.
Yeah,
nothing related to Elton John, just so you know.
Oh, actually, Elton John actually did it, but the Who wrote it.
The Tale of the Bookish Babysitter, which is... I do like reading a lot, so this kind of had a few heartstrings attached to it.
Oh, yeah, lovely.
And The Tale of Cutter's Treasure. That's a really good one. It's a two-parter.
Is it a pirate one?
Yes, the pirate one. And The Tale of the Unfinished Painting.
Never pick up somebody else's paintbrush.
Well, you might like it, guys, because it's... Well, one of many things I like is painting and art. And
actually, Sarah started off as an artist before she got into making movies and stuff.
Yes, so I've got art is another heartstring I really like.
Yeah, she did watercolors, oils, a bit of sculpting you did there. What else did you do?
Gosh knows.
Graphic design. Yeah, she's a very talented person. You should meet this girl. She is really
Anyway,
good.
moving on. The Tale of the Dead Man's Float, of a boy who's afraid of the water and this ghost.
Never go swimming alone, guys.
The Tale of Badge, which I don't think you've seen just yet.
No, I don't think so. It doesn't ring a bell.
It's a really good one. And The Tale of the Secret Admirer. That's a really good one, especially because it deals with messages from a secret admirer. And the three-parter Tale of the Silver Sight. That's a three-parter, and that's
a three-parter.
Yes.
Well, my goodness gracious
No, this is not the first time. I mean, the reboot that came out last year is not the first time they made a three-parter thing.
However, actually, the one they made last year was supposed to be a film, but they didn't do the film and put that in the back burner, and they decided to make a three-part mini-series. So, So, it still works out to be 40 minutes, 40 minutes, which makes, goodness gracious me, a 2-hour movie.
Now I remember, what's his name? I can't...
Bertram, is it?
Yeah, Laura Bertram. She starred in The Tale of the Lonely Ghost. So forgive me if I couldn't remember her name before.
Yeah, Alzheimer's. It's she at a young age.
Yes, I was very lucky to get to interview her. I'm really happy about it.
Yeah, from what you said, she's a very nice lady.
Yes.
Anyway,
now that I've gotten...
We're going through... look, pretty much as what Sarah said before is, these kids meet at midnight, weekly or fortnightly or whenever it is, and they tell a tale. Now, to bring a new member in, they'll blindfold the person, bring him in there, and sit down, and they'll have to tell a tale, and then they'll vote on it and say, yes, we like your tale, so you can be a member of our club.
Yeah, sometimes on the odd occasion, if the person's tale doesn't live up to their standards, they're welcome to come back and tell a new tale.
Yeah. See, now the point is that this is, like I said before, it's more of a young teen sort of show. However, all the stories that I have seen so far, I would say, they're good. I'd say a young teen and you're a bit younger can watch them. But yeah, man, I am an adult. I'm in my 60s and I enjoyed them.
Well, that's the thing about this. I mean, I've talked to a lot of people who have watched it when they were young, and some of them still watch it even with their own kids.
They're fun. It's fun. Yeah, like Disney used to make a lot of good family movies. Now, I wouldn't say it's a family horror, but it's the same sort of thing. It crosses generations.
Yeah, so you're never too young or you're never too old to watch Are You Afraid of the
It's
Dark?
horror fantasy. Yeah,
In short, that's
halfway
what I mean.
decent storyline. Now the point is these episodes, they were short. Were they, 20 minutes?
24 or 30 minutes.
About 25 minutes. Okay, let's say half an hour. Each episode's about half an hour long. Now, obviously, being a TV series type thing, short, they didn't develop the backstories or anything. They just got straight into the story.
Meaning there's no backstory to any of the members. Well, a bit of backstory, they may have a brother or sister that bugs them, and this inspires them to make a story about that person. Like Gary, the oldest member in the group, he's got a younger brother, Tucker, who goes out of his ear to ignore him, bug him.
As little brothers will. Anyway,
As for the others, we don't know too much about them.
But anyway, the stories are all based on what? Horror, fantasy, anything creepy. They can throw zombies, werewolves, whatever. You just throw them all in the melting pot, and a story will come out.
Even something that's like creepy, like your science teacher is a bug eater, like sort of goosebump stuff too.
Yeah, that sort of thing. Yeah, some of it's lighthearted, some's a little bit deeper, but it's still done in a lighter fashion, so it's not too creepy for kids.
Yes,
which is good because you don't sit in the bed having nightmares and stuff like that, middle night and screaming and yelling.
Even when I was little, I didn't exactly have nightmares, but I did have times when I was a little afraid to go to sleep at night.
Yeah, we had to leave the light on for many years.
So anyway, moving on. Let's jump into the reboot of this.
Now, this is what we really want to talk about.
Unlike the 90s one, this one goes a tad deeper and darker into this one.
This is more like, I don't think it'd be suitable for really young kids, this one. It's gone a bit deeper and darker. Being a 3-part miniseries.
And I'm amazed that Netflix even distributed it, because Netflix is all about the comedy, and no doubt there's a bit of comedy in this.
Not always comedy, but there's a bit of comedy
and all that. But this is a different type of comedy.
It's a like black comedy, but the point still remains is this is a bit deeper and darker, so the younger kids probably wouldn't be. A young teen would probably still like it.
If you guys watched Stranger Things or It Chapter 2 and 1, or 1 and 2,
I like it.
Or any of the other bent horror kid movie teen.
Yeah, Stephen King writes a good
you'll find this one has a bit of a that type of darkness.
Yeah. Now this one, do you want to take over telling the story of this reboot?
Yeah, sure. So it takes place with a young girl starting school, and her name's Rachel, so you know.
She's
and
nice
Rachel
girl.
Carpenter. And before you ask, yes, it was taken from John Carpenter, the director from Halloween.
Yeah, they borrowed some of the names of surnames and stuff of
you're gonna find
people in the industry.
Yeah, you're gonna find a lot of those names popping up in this movie, this mini-series.
Anyway, Rachel's moved in next door to this really
cool
looking
guy. Mother.
No, to a really cool looking guy.
Yes.
A bit of a love interest happening here.
Yeah. Anyway, her wacky mother doesn't help.
Oh, Mum's cute. I like Mum, but yeah.
Yeah, but she's a bit.
She's not totally off of the Pixies, but she's pretty good.
Yeah, well, she's like, she's funny. I remember my time when I was a student at school. Yada.
But she's like, it's almost like a giggly teenager and a mother. So, but she's really cute.
How
I like her. I mean, as a guy, I'd like her. Yeah.
Yes. So anyway, she goes to the school. Before we get to the school bit, she has nightmares about a weird guy in her dreams.
Yeah.
A creepy guy, as she mentioned.
With a top hat.
Yes, and stuff like that. And she dreams about it, and she gets visions of it, and she feels like she's growing nuts over it.
Yeah, strange that, hey.
Yeah, and she even writes this draws the stuff in,
Yes, you got a bad drawing distraction,
Yeah.
girl. Oh,
On her
excuse
first
me.
day of
Yawning.
on her first day of school, she's drawing Mr. Top Hat. That's just the name of the mysterious man in her dreams, and just then, and one of the boys in her class, Graham, I think his name is, he sees the drawing and he's a germophobic, just in case you don't notice, and he takes it out of the trash and takes a camera photo of it.
Yeah. Anyway, and she gets invited
To, or at least offered an invitation
to
to.
come to the midnight club and
Yeah.
have a story.
Yeah.
Do a story. Yeah.
Well,
so she was given 1 day to write a story, though, wasn't she?
Yes, true.
Yeah.
But before that, she has been asked a number of questions, like, would she prefer to sleep in a cemetery or inside a haunted house?
And why?
And they give her instructions to where to place her answers in around the school in secret locations.
Yeah, rather a little bit mysterious, cute and mysterious.
And it's a lot different than the 90s when I told you guys, where it was more of a kids club, while this one is more like a complete. We want to keep it tip top secret. Zip, no
You
one.
couldn't even talk about outside the club.
Yeah.
So people wouldn't know about the club, which is good. Yeah, kids need a little secret society,
Yeah.
Look at Superman. Now you didn't walk around and say, "Hey, I'm Superman." Wear his Superman clothes at work, did he?
Yeah.
No.
So anyway, so she has a day to think about what to write for a story.
And she puts a nice little story together
Yes.
based on her dreams.
Yes, so she writes it down, and thanks to her next door neighbor who's named Gavin.
He's cute.
He-
And we find later on his dad's pretty cute too. And her mum likes him.
Yeah, let's just hope fingers crossed that they don't get married.
Oh, why not? Yeah.
Oh.
They're their stepbrother and sister. It wouldn't matter. They can still go out and.
I don't know how it works
yeah,
then. Anyway, Gavin inspires her to write what she knows or what she fears and stuff in order to get her story across.
Yeah.
So later that night, she appears in the secret society area where we don't know the secret location,
Yeah.
and
It's hard to get to. How'd they find it?
I don't know. So
How do you get home?
I don't know. So anyway, she comes there. She tells us her story, and it's very creepy. And they're wearing masks, unlike in the other versions where you see
Oh, yeah.
them covered up with a sack over their heads, and you don't know the identity of each individual.
Nice masks. I like them.
They're
I'd wear
pretty
one
cool.
of those. I need one, actually. Have you seen? That's why we're not doing videos. Because, I mean, we've got great faces for radio.
Yes,
And
right.
and MP3s and stuff. But
Yes.
yeah.
So anyway, as we're saying, so she tells a story about this creepy carnival called the Carnival of Doom.
Yeah, good name.
And how this little kid who likes being scared goes there. She meets Mr. Top Hat.
Yeah.
And
It scares her.
scares
out of
her to its end. The next morning, everyone has no memory of the Carnival of
At
Doom.
all, yeah. Like
And-
the carnival didn't exist.
And two kids went missing.
Yeah. And they don't know where they went to, and they had no carnival because no one knew about the carnival. Interesting.
And the end. Even though most of these stories often have a bit more to go on.
Yeah. and they come back to the real time.
Yes, so they go back to the... And she does meet the members. They take off their masks, saying, "You're welcome aboard. You become a member of Midnight Society."
Now, this is where the plot thickens. The next day at school, or a day or two later, there's some free tickets going around school advertising
For
a new
Doom,
a carnival which has come into the area. And what's it called?
Carnival of Doom.
And it's the same name as the one she made up in her story.
And then this is where it gets interesting. One of the kids from her school, whom she befriended at the beginning,
Yeah, nice guy.
other than Gavin, I mean,
Another guy.
he vanishes, disappears. Whoosh!
Woof.
Wolf is right. And Rachel is aware that the carnival has something to do with his disappearance.
So they decide to go there and investigate it.
Yes, they do. And things get a little bit creeped out. Like the Mr. Top Hat knows Rachel.
And everything that happens that night is part of a story almost, isn't it?
Quite.
Mr. Top Hat comes out to bring Master Top Guy and different things happen. And they go, and what happens then? I can't remember.
They go in separate groups,
That's right, yeah.
And at first it's really scary, two members, Graham and Louise, they were on a Ferris wheel, and it looked like it's going to fall.
It stopped, and the bolts started to undo automatically by themselves.
Yeah, scaring them to bits.
It scared me too, up on top.
But fortunately, it was just a trick.
Well, we don't know. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't.
Maybe. Anyway, meanwhile, Rachel and Gavin, they're inside a tunnel of love ghost train or something.
Yeah, like a boat version of, it's like a tunnel of love, scary crap in it.
Yeah, it was very creepy, especially the bits where the zombie skeletons jump out of the water. Ooh, God, it's creeped me out.
Good. Actually, that wasn't bad. I mean,
and this is one of the reasons why I thought this is no way going to be as neat and as funny as it was years ago.
Yeah, younger kids might get scared of some of the stuff.
Yes, this stuff is not meant for 13 or 12-year-olds.
No.
Not unless you have a stomach for it.
Yeah, it's sort of like Are You Afraid of Dark meets Hellfest. Yeah.
Yes. So anyway, one of the girls, I don't know what's her name.
Which one?
Oh, the independent filmmaker girl. One of them is an independent filmmaker who's obsessed with horror film.
That could be Akiko, who plays Maya. Is it?
Yeah, it could be.
I mean, Mike Keats plays Akiko Yamato.
Yeah, Akiko.
I think.
Anyway, she
I think
her phone and I guess her friend's phone gets stolen by some creepy clowns.
Because not supposed to photograph anything there.
Yeah, meaning this stuff has to be top secret because this Carnival of Doom doesn't have a social media or any websites or anything.
No websites, no Facebook, no nothing. It does not exist.
It's just word of mouth that indicates there's a carnival around. And then, of course, as we said, the next day, everyone forgets about the carnival. Like, they don't even have a memory of it.
No.
Shred of it.
Not bad, eh?
Of course, just like clockwork in the story, the next morning, everyone doesn't have a memory of it. They said, except for Rachel. And guess what else? Gavin disappears. Oh no, poor Rachel. Her semi-boyfriend has disappeared. Well, we don't know if he's going to be a boyfriend or not.
Oh, I think it's going to have a bit of chemistry going on already.
I think in this scene, I think that the reason he took him was to wheel Rachel in that weird way.
We believe. Well, some will come out in the story later on. Yeah, I won't say anything because there is a connection between Rachel and Top Hat.
Yeah, a very big, deep connection.
And it goes back
many years. I won't. So anyway, in the final episode, Rachel regroups with the others and she sits down and explains the situation.
And they can't remember what happened at the carnival.
And they can't even remember what story she told during the campfire.
Yeah, everything had been blotted from their memories.
It was all taken out, everything.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yes.
But anyway, she finally convinces them that she knows what she's talking about.
Yeah. Fortunately for us, Kiko's friend who uploaded the footage onto Cloud.
On the Cloud. And had proof they were there that previous evening.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is they took footage of Mr. Top Hat.
And he wasn't there.
He wasn't there.
Like he was a ghost or an apparition or something or other. And you can't photograph them easily.
Yeah, and you can still hear his voice in during the footage a little bit.
Yeah, you can.
Faintly.
But you couldn't see him. Didn't even cast a shadow.
Yes. Only just the what do they call those key lights?
Yeah, it had the spotlight going around. He would have been walking with the spotlight and there's nobody there, just like a vampire.
But they did see Adam in the background.
Yeah, the missing guy, the first guy who went missing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So anyway, the kids realize that the next stop, the they realize that Kiko's phone is still with the clowns, and there's, what do they call it? The special scouting location thing to know where your phone is.
Yeah, it's a bit like a GPS-y sort of thing.
Yeah, so there's a GPS thingy,
Type thingy,
and
yeah.
they indicate that their next carnival attraction will be held in
So-and-so town.
in Ohio, I think.
Yeah,
Somewhere
in Ohio, I think.
And
yeah.
of course,
And that's where she came from originally.
yeah, Rachel admitted that she came from Ohio before she came and moved to this place. So interesting thing that is.
Interesting. Anyway,
So anyway,
they talk Kiko's brother, who's a policeman, to drive them there.
yeah, it's a little interesting in this. Unlike in the other movies and TV shows where the policeman says, "You can't go; it's too dangerous. Let us, the policeman, handle it." All that stuff.
That was so weird. He couldn't have any backup. Say that, well, I'll take you guys there, because he was a bit nosy too. Because he thinks there's something not quite right, and they show him the footage, don't they?
Yeah, they do. They think it's a bit bizarre, and not to mention, so they end up driving, and of course they stop at a rest stop.
Yeah, Kiko's brother, the policeman, needs a pee. And guess what? He disappears.
Yes. And of course, Kiko gets annoyed with Rachel, saying, "If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be in this situation."
And my brother would, blah, 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 blah.
But I don't think it would have mattered at this point. They would still lose kids, technically, if Rachel wasn't there.
Exactly. But anyway.
Anyway.
They taught Graham's got a learner's permit, so I taught Graham into driving the police car.
So he drives at a slow snail trail pace.
Not like a typical police car at all, no.
But he did say that he doesn't mind driving ordinary cars, but not a police car.
Like, if you drove like a policeman, no one will look at him.
Yeah.
But,
What if he gets pulled over by? What if they accuse him of stealing a car?
Well, whatever. Anyway, they make it to the carnival.
Yes, they make it to the carnival, and this is where the backstory to Mr. Top Hat comes into play. One of his associates appears behind them and tells them a full detail of the story, how Mr. Top Hat became what he was.
And he got mystical powers and stuff, but he said things like that. Oh, yeah, its power is in his top hat. You take the top hat away from him, he's powerless. Then you destroy it, and then everything.
By fire.
Yeah, destroyed by fire. Everything gets obliterated.
Yeah, and he also says that the reason how Top Hat got all this power stuff was that he was just your ordinary carnival man back in the 1920s.
And there was an accident.
And in the one of their rides, a merry-go-round crashes, killing two parents and 4 kids.
Yeah, and so
and of
they're
course,
going to send you bankrupt and everything.
Yeah,
we know what that is.
Yeah, and so while he was drinking his last coins away, look who came up to say hi.
Satan himself, Lucifer, Beelzebub, whatever you want to call him, he's there.
Yeah, the one thing I've noticed in Are You Afraid of the Dark, they never mention the word D in this.
Not devil or Satan or
they
anything.
always they said demons, ghosts, goblins, angels. Well, no angels, obviously, considering that this is
leprechauns, maybe.
Yeah, a lot of fantasy stuff, but no demons. I mean, no devils.
No devils, because he does get a bit too dark. But this one here, the devil, he made a pact with the devil.
Yes.
To have everything returned to him as it was and better.
Yes. And of course, the devil says you'll still have your carnival, but no one will remember it, and there will be one day a chosen one who will come and defeat you. And
a girl. I think did he say it was going to be a girl?
He says some kind of child that will be immune to his powers. And stuff.
So he won't be able to block her memory. He won't be able to block that person's memory and stuff. And this person will have power over him to a certain degree.
So he's a bit afraid, or so you think.
And now, this gets a bit complicated here.
Yes. Soon enough.
Are you paying attention?
Yes. The guy who is the ex-associate to the Top Hat explains to them, gives them directions to how to get inside the carnival and go discreetly around
to find out where he stores his top hat.
Yes. But things don't go according to plan.
It was a setup, folks.
Yes. Somehow
you
they
can't
do
trust him.
Yeah, soon enough they do go in there. The the members of the of the Midnight Society, they go into the control panel, start pressing buttons.
And turning all the power off and different things.
You think that would be a dead giveaway to them, knowing that they're there. They should have just left there and just hide or something.
Well, they did that to create a diversion, maybe. I can't remember.
And of course, Rachel was able to get inside Mr. Top Hat's wagon of sorts, and she puts the special coin. This is very relevant to the story, into a slot inside the wall, and this opens a special door.
A mystical door to another dimension or another area or something or other, which you can't see from the outside.
Yeah, so as she walks in, she sees Gavin, and
he sort of warns her, doesn't he?
And of course, we see Mr. Top Hat's associate talking in a ladies and gentlemen voice.
Yeah, just like it was in the tent. So this is like a...
yes, and somehow we realised that this was a trap.
Yes.
And Mr. Top Hat has her trapped in where he wants her and all that stuff in the creepy way.
Exactly.
And of course, he tells her flat out that it wasn't the top hat that was his power. It was a cane with an orb on top of it.
You know, the one in Jurassic Park, the guy had liquid amber with the mosquito in it, and top of his cane. Well, he has some sort of jewel gem, something or other, on the top of his big walking stick
given to him by probably the devil himself.
And that's where his power comes from.
Yeah, and of course he knew that she was coming, and he's gonna saw her in half with a chainsaw.
Yeah, actually, it's quite interesting. Everything's gonna go to car for her.
Yeah. Soon.
When did we find out she came across the carnival when she was younger?
He mentions that she was at the carnival back in when she was
younger, when she was about 8 or something.
In Ohio, and she did. All that part of her story was actually a memory.
Yeah.
That she couldn't remember.
She couldn't remember properly, but it was still there. Yeah.
He remarked to her that she did remember him, and he kept going on about how he thinks this is thrilling that she remembered him out of all the kids in the world, and her fear was different from all the other kids' fear.
But here's something. Do you want to talk about the family link, or add it later?
That's much later.
Okay.
So he knows that she's who she is, and he plans to saw her in half in front of a live audience.
Yay!
Even though the live audience is probably under the
well, it would have been under his control.
Yeah, and of course her friends are under his control too.
Yeah, they're all like zombie states. Yeah.
Yes. Anyway,
there wasn't Akiko's brother there with the chainsaw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Tucker into.
Yeah. Oh no, Leatherface.
Okay. So anyway, while he's going on about we're gonna saw this kid in half, yada yada yada, dear old Rachel takes out a pocket knife that was given to her by Gavin, and starts cutting through her ropes. Yeah. And while Top Hat is not looking, she runs across the stage, grabs his stick, and gives him a belt in the belly.
And could have been a bit lower, folks. That would have slowed him down. Hey.
And of course, but all her friends kind of get out of the trance.
Yeah, well, she got the stick now.
Yes, true. And she and her friends run into the tunnel of love thing in order to hide.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, all of them except Rachel were disappeared. Or not disappeared, they got tackled by the evil zombie
zombie thingies.
Creatures that were living in the water. Or not living in the water.
Well, hanging around.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway.
And of course, Top Hat tells her, meet me at the place that we first meet.
Yeah, whatever, yeah. Where was that? McDonald's?
Outback.
Hungry Jack's. Burger King.
So anyway, she goes there, and at one point she tries to attempt to destroy it by banging it against a piece of wood or something.
It didn't work.
It
wasn't made shoddily.
Yeah, well, I would have thought maybe breaking the orb itself, not the stick itself.
Well, that's the magic. She was trying to break the stick.
Yeah, of course. She approaches him, and he says he'll give her back her friends if she gives it back.
Yes.
But she does want to give it back, and she wants to take him down for after all these crimes he committed.
Exactly.
Yes. So in the end, she eventually does throw the stick into the fire. And you think that throwing it in the fire, it may not work or anything like that, because the bad guy's associates said throw it in the fire. It'll work.
We said throw the top hat into the fire.
So,
Everyone knows you can purge evil using fire, and salt's always a good one.
True,
and
true.
garlic when you're playing with vampires.
True, true. So anyway,
rules.
so Top Hat is defeated, and he smiles at her. Probably, I don't know why, but I think she even asks him, "Why are you smiling?" And he says, "What did he say?"
I can't remember.
I don't know. Maybe that she'll be the only. They'll be remembering him. That's
right. He's on about that. At least his memory will live on.
Yeah.
Because no one knows he exists, because that was his pact to the devil. You'll have everything you like, but no one will know you exist.
Yes.
It's a bit sad. What a boring life.
Yes.
He wasn't getting any older too, by the look of it.
Yeah, and by the time as he died, his features started to age.
Yeah, a bit like Dorian Gray. Yeah.
Well, he's practically an old apparition.
Well, he's back the devil back in the 40s, and this is supposed to be now. And now, let's say he's 30 or 40 years old back in the 40s.
Yes. Use the numbers.
Yeah, it'd be pretty ancient by now, guys.
Yeah, soon enough, everyone's memories have returned. Kiko's brother is back to normal, and Adam is back to normal too. And so everything is peachy. Even Grandma's.
So when did we find out about her relatives and the merry-go-round?
We find out way to the end.
All right.
So everything's back to normal. All the kids that were either kidnapped or disappeared were kind of rediscovered, and
the girls who disappeared a couple of weeks earlier and stuff. Oh, a couple of years earlier, they appeared out of nowhere somewhere.
Yes.
And
I mentioned they have.
Stuff.
I mentioned they have. They probably told this story about a carnival and all that stuff.
And no one would believe them.
We wouldn't.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Yes.
Run away the circus. Yeah, you heard it before. Yeah.
Yes. So anyway, the kids meet up at the fire, and where they're going to vote on Rachel whether or not to dismiss her as a member now that their venture's over, but they all agree to have her on board.
I think they're joking, actually.
Yes.
But anyway, irrespective. But when did the part come out about her link to Mr. Top Hat? I can't remember. But
Akia, both girls in the group, Louise and the other girl, they mentioned to her.
Akiko went on the internet and
Graham
stuff,
mentioned
mock a fish film or something.
Graham mentioned why out of all the kids in the world did Rachel had to be the chosen one and all that stuff. And Kiko and Louise admit they find out much later about that very same carnival that he opened years ago was the same kid. The kid in there was actually her Rachel's great grandmother or something.
Or grandmother or great grandmother, whatever. Yeah,
or whatever.
Someone who died there, and she had a direct bloodline. The person who died on the merry-go-round.
Well, she didn't die actually. I mean, the little girl, she lived.
The grandparent, the grandparent died.
Yeah, the grandparent.
But their offspring were okay. I said, but she has direct bloodline to the person who died, the grandmother or whatever.
Yes.
On the merry-go-round. Mm-hmm. Yes, and
so,
that's why she had power.
Yeah, and of course, everyone thought this kind of cool, interesting, and Gavin even says, "How can I top that?" I mean, your story was really cool.
Her story really came to life, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. Anyway, she says that she still would love to hear his story. So he says, "Submit approval of the Midnight Society. I call the story The Return of the Ghastly Grinner." And before you asked me, that wasn't one of many stories that was in the 19s Are You Afraid of the Dark episodes.
Yeah.
Well, not Return, just the Ghastly Grinner, obviously.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
and
actually, we went a bit about introducing it, submitting it for your approval. Wasn't that something to do with the Twilight Zone and Rod Serling?
Yeah, he mentioned it.
Yeah, so a bit of a nod to him, because he used to use that occasionally.
Yeah, well, maybe the guy who created it, what's his name, the creators?
Kale. Where's his name again? DJ McHale.
He and maybe a few of the writers thought they were big fans of the Twilight Zone, so they decided to put that in for
it's a bit of a tribute
as an introduction to the story.
What do you call it? Recognition to Rod Serling and his efforts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So in the end, while they're about to start saying that story, they hear a weird sound in the woods, shaking in woods in the bushes, shaking wildly, and then we hear woof woof, a dog approaching them, and Adam approaching too.
Yeah, the guy who disappeared in the beginning. And it's lovely.
Yeah.
And they invite him to stay.
Yeah, and
You know why? Because he had a really nice dog.
Yeah,
No?
or at least
No.
make him a new member if he can keep his mouth shut.
Well, exactly right. Now, I will say one or two things here.
Okay.
Because I get into more technical stuff. This is available through eBay and Amazon. Now, there's something called a site called Voodoo. I can't get onto it. Maybe because I'm in Australia, maybe it blocks because I'm not in America or wherever it is.
Yeah.
I don't know how it works. And I believe it's available on YouTube. I think you can actually buy it through YouTube, subscribe to it somehow or other. And I think there was there might have been another one. I think iTunes maybe, but I couldn't. I had trouble getting to iTunes because I didn't have the thingy, whatever. So yeah, there's ways to see this legally. Don't do a torrent download unless you really, really can't get them. But it's available, like I said, on eBay and Amazon and and Voodoo and whatever, and YouTube. So yeah, please do it the right way. That way you keep yourself safe from the authorities.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to make sure that I put this in my perspective, guys. That even though both the series from the 90s and this one is quite different.
It is different. It's a bit darker, this one.
Yeah, I'm trying to make sure I put it in perspective. Like, I don't have to keep going back and forth between them and put too much effort.
Look, the best way to put it is the other ones were done with half-hour shows with no great time spent developing characters and storylines. Just get straight in and straight out, okay, like, as one would expect. This here was done as a mini series over 3 nights, or whatever, three episodes. Worked out to be about 2 hours long. It had a chance to build the storyline up a bit better. It's a tad darker. Now it's somewhere, like I said before, in between Are You Afraid of the Dark, and in between there and Hellfest. It's a bit darker than the original. So yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Why not? It's they did Fantasy Island recently. It's a bit darker than the TV series. It's going to happen. You know, so those who don't like it, oh, it's a little bit too dark for me. It's nothing like the TV series. Well, I'm sorry. This is a mini series.
Yeah, and I like to think, guys, putting in a different box. I would say that in my mind that there are two different versions of how they portray
Two different
styles and two different ways they portrayed the story.
Yeah.
So if you want to be technical about it, I would not always. Well, I wouldn't say that there's a link between them two. I mean, they're two different stories.
It's a reboot, but they've modified the reboot into a mini-series instead of this dragged on for a 8 or 9 or 10 or 12 episodes.
And this was more focused on the members more than
one storyline.
Than the stories itself.
Yeah, and one storyline for the 3 things. So I think it's good. I think they've taken it to next level.
Agreed.
I think it's to do more of these. Actually, it's good. I wouldn't say good, wholesome fun. Yeah. But the point, it's a mini series, and over 3 weeks. I mean, people are busier nowadays. Years ago, let's see these one every afternoon. We go and watch one at once a week.
Although I do like the 90s one a little bit because the kids that are just telling the stories, they're us listening to the story and all that, and at the end of the day, or for any of us who watch it, would know that once the story's over, you're back safe and sound.
Yes.
I think Gavin said it best in the mini series where
you go back home to bed with safe and sound.
Yes, you can go home, you can be safe, and you don't have to worry about the creepy monsters in the dark.
Yeah, things do go bump in the night, but not always what you think they are.
I gotta admit though, I did like the whole top out thing. It makes me think of Stephen King's It and The Wretch. A few weeks ago we did a review on a movie about a witch that steals children and erases people's memories. No different than this
Very
this
similar.
film,
Yeah.
but a little bit different because instead of keeping the kids as slaves, she eats them.
Yeah.
Ew is right.
Yeah.
Yes. Although it's
I'd rather have McDonald's or Pizza Hut. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
so this is no different from that, but slight differences. Like a little bit because Top Hat is like he's like the clown from Pennywise from Stephen King's It.
A little bit, yeah.
Harmless, but kind of a sinister, dangerous about it.
Well, remember that Aladdin movie we saw from Bollywood, where they had the ringmaster? Yeah, he looked like an ordinary guy, but he was evil as all hell.
Yeah.
So yeah, same thing. Yeah, good guy, maybe, but maybe not. And you find it's the maybe not's right. He's definitely not a good guy. Yeah.
Yes. So anyway, this is I do like the fact that it's an interesting take on the TV series.
I think, like I said before, it's taking the next level. It's taking it from half hour show into pretty much a movie length thing. They actually were going to make a movie, but they didn't want to do the movie, so they made a 3-part
creative
miniseries.
differences, I think, or not creative differences,
or whatever. They just didn't want to commit to a movie, but a 3-part miniseries made for TV was more up their alley. I think.
Because I read somewhere that when they were looking at making a movie for it,
Excuse me.
there were some creative differences with the script.
Yeah, whatever.
And it never got off the ground.
Well, that's the way it goes in Hollywood.
So I heard.
Anyway, so I got nothing more to say about this because this is really a TV series. We can't go into too much individual storylines and stuff. But we did.
We're going to do two different ratings for this. You know, the 90s one and the
you want to split it, do you? Okay.
Yes, let's split it.
Okay. Now,
For the 90s one, how do you rate it?
Oh, wait a minute. Okay, I'm doing it from adults' perspective, who I never saw as a kid, and Sarah saw as a kid, so our ratings might be a tad different.
Yes.
Now, the original TV series, as a kids or young teenagers TV series, I think was quite good. And I would give it an 8.5. Okay, you think?
I will give it 9.5.
Okay, because you're obviously you're younger when you saw it and you really enjoyed it more.
It's part of my childhood, and as is most of you guys who probably have too, if you're into the horror stuff. Which I imagine you are.
Yeah. And actually, I think the filming was a bit more basic for that too.
Yeah, true.
Now this one,
the reboot.
This reboot, on the other hand, the filming's a lot better, and I wouldn't say the acting's better, but I would say the acting is better for what it is, because it's a mini-series and not just a half-hour show. So the filming's better, the acting's better, and it's a good, long, solid storyline.
Not knocking actors.
No.
In general, this is the first time I've seen actual kids playing kids' roles.
Yeah. What's the change? Instead of Michael J. Fox playing a teenager. Anyway.
Like most of the kids.
Can I do my rating?
Like some of the kids in the original one, they were either between in their 20s or they were
a tad older than I'm making out.
Yes,
okay.
so go
that
on.
does happen. Now, this here, everything was made like a real movie miniseries, so the quality is somewhat better. The storyline is really, really good.
The graphics are pretty cool
graphics
too.
Are good. Everything comes. So I'm going to raise this the reboot to 9.5. Yeah, 9.5.
I'm going to say 9.5 too.
Yeah. Because it's good. I like the reboot more than the original series, of course.
Yeah.
It's developed the storyline better.
Agreed.
Yeah. How's that?
Quite.
We did really good there, didn't we? No, actually, honestly, I mean, it's good to see. How to put it? I do not like reboots just for the sake of making money if there's nothing new coming along. Like, let's dust off the Brady Bunch and get them out and strut their stuff again. No, let's leave them alone. But this worked, I think. because it's new generation sort of thing, and they're not trying to turn out the same story, the same basic themes there.
Yeah. If there was the same themes, then we have a serious problem.
And then we're starting to get boring again. It's like doing the Twilight Zone and trying to do what Rod Serling did way back in the 60s and try to do it now. I don't think it'll work unless you modernised all the stories. Because they were good for their time, but maybe not so good now. You'd have to change them, modernise them, and knead them a bit more to make them
a
work.
lot like Cecil, Cecil DeMille, where he did two different versions of Ten Commandments.
He did a silent version.
Yeah, which had two stories in it.
Yeah, he had a bit of the old stuff and a bit of the new stuff.
And then we have the Charlton Heston one.
Yeah, the really good one.
Which had a little bit more, a bit of a backstory in Moses, or a fictional backstory.
But there's two different movies made by the same person.
Yeah, Cecil DeMille would tell you.
Cecil B. DeMille.
Cecil B. DeMille would tell you that he was looking at trying to extend the story of Moses because when you look at I'm not going to bring too much of the Bible into it, but the Bible doesn't mention too much about Moses' life in the palace too much. When you
it doesn't. It goes, hey, once upon a time, there's a guy called Moses. Yeah.
Yes, he came to the wealthy palace. He left the wealthy palace
and went to the desert.
And went to the desert, and there it is.
He founded the tribe. Yeah.
Yes.
So
the end.
But Cecil B. DeMille made the black and white silent version based on his resources at the time, and he wasn't happy with it, and that's why he made the other one, which was a far, far, far better movie. So when you do that, it's fine. But I don't like reboots and remakes for the sake of trying to make a few dollars. As long as it's talented and good art.
Did two different versions of it.
Good art, good production. Yeah, redo it or make it better. But don't do the same stuff over and over again. No.
Yes.
But no, this doesn't fall in that category. It's its own standalone identity, even though it's the same series and stuff.
Yeah,
it's good.
It just doesn't refer back to any of the other.
No, it doesn't.
Except for when Gavin mentioned the return of Ghastly. Grinner,
he mentioned some things.
That was just only a mention.
Yeah, just to grabbing a name off the old series. But the point it made is it's its own identity. It's not capitalising on the original TV series. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, which is good. I liked it.
Yeah.
Anyway, folks, I think I've said enough. You're probably getting bored of my voice anyway.
So let me see. So I'd like to say thanks for watching listen to this latest podcast. This is Sarah Stephenson.
And Michael Stephenson.
Wishing you unpleasant dreams. See you around, guys.
Bye.